Ever been blindsided by an anime twist so shocking that you felt personally betrayed? Well, you're not alone. Anime loves to build friendships, trust, and alliances, only to brutally shatter them in the blink of an eye. Today, we'll be exploring why betrayal in anime hits harder than a Titan punch, relive iconic moments where trust turned to tragedy, and uncover just why these unforgettable scenes keep us talking years later. Let's jump into it. Attack on Titan.
楽しんでくれよ。こんな奴らがいるなんて知らずにいれば、こんな半端なクソ野郎にならずに済んだのに。勝負は今ここで決める。ないな。
We all know AOT by now. It's set in a brutal, high-stakes world where humanity fights desperately for survival against titans. But as the series progresses, it becomes painfully clear that sometimes the most dangerous threats are the closest. When Reina and Bertolt, the two characters that we got to know, reveal themselves as the armored and colossal titans, it was shocking. Beyond that, I jumped when I first saw this scene. Before the betrayal, Reina and Bertolt were friends, comrades, who laughed and fought with Eren, Armin, and all the others. We, as the audience, have grown to rely and care for these characters, which made the betrayal all the more devastating. The reveal is sudden and blunt, occurring during a conversation, making the betrayal feel even more surreal and cruelly authentic. We watched in disbelief as Reina and Bertolt revealed who they truly are, and what's worse, they were never even on our side. We grew attached to them, and to suddenly see this? The betrayal doesn't just destroy trust, it shattered friendships, altered motivations, and reshaped entire narratives. Suddenly, the lines between friend and enemy blur irreversibly, forcing characters and us to question everything that they thought they had known about loyalty, humanity, and identity. The lasting impact of the betrayal resonates throughout the remainder of the series, leaving a permanent emotional scar and reminding everyone just how truly delicate trust is. And on top of all of it, the soundtrack, oh man, what an absolute masterpiece. Hiroyuki Sawano is an unmatched musician with the ability to make every moment hit like a truck, and when it comes to betrayal scenes, his music takes the emotional devastation to another level. The slow, eerie build-up, the heart-wrenching vocals, and the sudden bursts of intensity mirror the very essence of betrayal. The shock, the heartbreak, and the overwhelming sense of loss. Bleach.
Renji.
だったらなんでひなもりは殺した？
殺してゆくのは情けだと思わないか？
そうかよ。キラもひなもりもあんたの手のひらで転がされてただけってわけかよ。
君もだ、アバライ君。
よくわかったぜ。俺の知ってるアイゼン隊長じゃねえってことがな。
もう自分の知るアイゼン宗介ではないか。君の知るアイゼン宗介など最初からどこにも言わしない。
Ah, Bleach. Well, let me tell you, there have been many betrayals here. Uryu betraying Ichigo, Gin betraying Aizen, Ginjo betraying Ichigo, and many more. But for this video, we'll be talking about the first one, and tell one of the most iconic betrayals ever happened. Aizen betraying the Soul Society. At first, Aizen was seen as kind, humbled, admired, and loved by his fellow Soul Reapers. This image makes the truth behind his character even more shocking, when it's unveiled that his gentle facade was merely a meticulously crafted mask. Aizen's elaborate deception includes staging his own death, a plot so convincing that it plunges the entire Soul Society into chaos. The revelation of his true motivations, to become a godlike figure by obtaining absolute power, forces both his allies and enemies into a brutal awakening, and Ichigo Kurosaki, who believes deeply in trust and loyalty, is shaken, causing him to question his judgment and instincts. The betrayal fundamentally flips the story on its head, transforming what seems like a straightforward battle of good versus evil into complex complex, morally ambiguous conflicts. Aizen's act doesn't just alter the immediate storyline, it creates lasting ripple effects that impact future alliances, character development, and the series' entire thematic framework. Ultimately, this betrayal teaches viewers an unforgettable lesson about the dangers of trusting appearances and how deeply deception can wound those they trust the most. Aizen once said, "Any betrayal you can see is trivial. What is truly more frightening and much more lethal is the betrayal you cannot see." And honestly, he's got a good point. The worst betrayals don't come from your enemies, they come from the people that you never thought would hurt you. It's not the rivals who challenge you openly, it's the friend who acts like they've got your back while secretly twisting the knife. It's the person who swore that they would always be there, only to disappear the moment that you need them most. And let's be real, that's what makes it hit so hard. You never see it coming. One minute you're confident in your relationships, and the next you're questioning everything. Was the loyalty even ever real? Or were you just fooling yourself the whole time? Maybe that's the scariest part, not the betrayal itself, but the realization that you never really knew the people around you as well as you thought. Death Note.
ライト君、もう遅い。さっき君は僕の勝ちだと言った。ライト君、なんで？
やめろ！
八神ライト、あなたがキラです。
そうだ。僕がキラだ。
Now, Death Note is filled with deception, mind games, twists, and turns, but perhaps the most powerful betrayal comes at the very end, when Light, who's manipulated and deceived everyone around him, is finally revealed as Kira, the infamous serial killer behind countless deaths. He spent the entire series hiding behind the image of a model student and devoted son, even teaming up with law enforcement. But the intense climax tears away that mask, leaving those close to him stunned and betrayed. The reveal is emotionally heavy, and Light's father and fellow investigators are forced to confront the truth that they never wanted to believe. Everything they thought that they knew is in crumbles, and the illusion that Light built so carefully falls apart in an instant. The grief and shock hit hard, especially from those who placed their trust in him without question. This final betrayal marks Light's descent into darkness, symbolizing not just the end of his deceptive journey, but also the heartbreaking collapse of all the relationships that built on his trust and loyalty. This final act of betrayal ultimately brings Light's story to a close. It shows how dangerous unchecked ambition can be, and how easily trust can be broken when someone's willing to sacrifice everything for power. It leaves behind a haunting reminder of how far someone can fall and how deep that fall can hurt. Tower of God.
言ったでしょ、僕が絶対ラフェルを塔まで連れて行ってあげるって。塔の頂上で一緒に夜。
ラヘル。
Tower of God explores betrayal in one of the most personal and painful ways, through Bam's unwavering journey to find Rachel, the one person that he treasures above all else. His entire reason for entering the mysterious tower is rooted in his devotion to her, which makes what follows incredibly sad. In a moment that changes everything, Rachel, who had seemed so kind and fragile, suddenly shoves Bam off a platform, seemingly to his death. It's not just a shocking betrayal, it completely shatters Bam's belief in love and trust. What makes this moment hit so hard is that everything we've seen from Bam, his kindness, his loyalty, and absolute faith in Rachel, made us believe in their bond, and in her. That purity is what makes her actions so crushing. Rachel's betrayal echoes a fear that many of us can relate to, the pain of being hurt by someone that you trusted the most. As the series progresses, the consequences of this moment stay with Bam. The betrayal begins to change him, turning his hopelessness into something more guarded and uncertain. It's not just Bam who changes, the emotional tone of the whole series shifts. That one act set off a ripple effect that lingers long after the fall. Kill la Kill.
人は服のために生きるのではない。
本能寺学園は貴様を倒すために作った私の城だ。貴様に従うふりをしてこの日を待っていた。恐怖こそ自由、君臨こそ解放、それがこの世界の真実だ。服にへつらう豚よ。甘く見ない方がいい。
Satsuki's betrayal of Ragyo in Kill la Kill had been building up for a long time. Ragyo Kiryuin was never the caring parent that she should have been. She subjected Satsuki to cruel life fiber experiments and years of emotional and physical abuse. From childhood through her teens, Satsuki lived under Ragyo's control, silently carrying a deep and growing resentment. As she matured, Satsuki began planning her rebellion in secret, especially after uncovering her mother's plan to use life fibers to wipe out humanity. And while their strained relationship was no secret, the moment Satsuki finally stands against her mother is still shocking. It happens during a public event where she makes her move, challenging Ragyo and declaring open war against everything she stands for. This moment goes beyond betrayal. It's a bold step towards freedom, a turning point where Satsuki takes back control of her life. Her rebellion reshapes the plot, shifting her from a silent survivor into a determined force for change. From that point on, the story gains new emotional weight, and Satsuki's path becomes one of justice, strength, and healing. It's a reminder of how powerful it is to stand up to the one who was supposed to protect you.
そうなんですよ。
Made in Abyss. In the hauntingly beautiful yet brutally unforgiving world of Made in Abyss, betrayal takes one of the darkest forms through Bondrewd, the mysterious, charming scientist whose calm and fatherly presence hides something far more disturbing. At first, he seems kind and welcoming, but beneath that exterior lies the truth. He's the one responsible for the horrific experiments on children like Nanachi and Midi. His pursuit of knowledge comes at a horrifying cost: their innocence, trust, and even their humanity. What makes Bondrewd's betrayal so disturbing is how completely it strips away any sense of safety. Just when it seems like compassion might exist in the abyss, he reveals the cold, calculated cruelty behind his smile. It's a jarring reminder that evil doesn't always look the part. His actions leave deep emotional wounds that linger long after, reshaping the characters' lives and shifting the tone of the story in a lasting way. Through Bondrewd, the series dives into uncomfortable territory, forcing both characters and viewers to face harsh realities about morality, ambition, and the terrifying extremes that some are willing to reach in the name of progress. No game, no life, zero. In the prequel film, No Game, No Life Zero, betrayal unfolds in a deeply personal and heartbreaking way, shining a harsh light on the realities of war and pain that come with broken trust. At its heart, the story follows Riku and Shui, two souls who find love in the middle of a world torn apart. Their bond becomes a rare symbol of hope, a fragile thread of peace in a time of endless destruction. But that fragile hope is torn apart, not by an enemy, but by humanity. When humanity's leaders turn their backs on Riku's vision, choosing fear and violence over unity, the betrayal feels intimate and crushing. Riku had risked everything to break free from the endless bloodshed. Seeing his efforts dismissed so easily makes the betrayal hit with undeniable emotional weight, showing just how fragile trust can be when desperation takes over. The fallout is devastating. It changes the course of the film entirely and lays the groundwork for the world we later see in No Game, No Life. It's a sharp portrayal of the cost of war, lost ideals, severed connections, and hope slipping through fingers. In the end, the betrayal leaves a haunting truth. In the fight between hope and despair, trust is the first thing to break.
ユッキーは殺させないよ。
Mirai Nikki.
バカな。てめえ。
ヒカノ。
ごめんね。同盟してわざとイレブンスの罠を踏む。
てめえ。裏切ったな。
エイスの殺害。 僕が神になってみんなを必ず。
Betrayal lands its heaviest blow when Yukiteru Yuki Amano turns on his own friends. At first he's shown as shy and fragile and hesitant to even be a part of the deadly survival game, but as the pressure mounts and the manipulation closes in, Yuki slowly begins to change. Desperation and fear take hold, and Yuno Gasai's constant influences only push him further into darker, more unstable versions of himself. The turning point comes when Yuki, pushed beyond his limits, chooses to sacrifice the very people who trusted him the most. This moment is a clear break from the loyalty and kindness that he once showed. The friends who stood by him become tools in his fight to survive, and the weight of that betrayal leaves a mark that doesn't fade easily. From this point on, the emotional tone of the series shifts. Yuki's choices create lasting tensions, shaking the foundations of relationships that once felt so genuine and strong. For viewers, it's unsettling to watch someone so relatable slip into moral grayness. His story becomes a painful reminder of how fear can twist even the most innocent into someone almost unrecognizable. Fate Stay Night.
全体を救うために少量の人間を見殺しにするしかない。いずれ幸福という席からこぼれる人間を速やかにこの手で切り落とした。多くの人間を救うというのが正義の味方だろう。その陰で何人かの人間には絶望を抱かせた。それがこの俺。そんな男は今のうちに死んだ方が世のためだと思わないか。自害しろ、エミヤしろ。
Fate Stay Night weaves a rich and complex story that becomes more gripping the deeper it goes. At the center is Shiro Emiya, a young man haunted by a traumatic past. Scarred in both body and spirit, he's driven by a desire to stop others from suffering as he once did. This determination leads him into the Holy Grail War, a deadly battle where mages summon legendary heroes to fight for their wishes. One of those heroes is Archer, a jaded and cold warrior who constantly challenges Shiro's beliefs. His words cut deep, targeting Shiro's ideals with sharp criticism that slowly chips away at his confidence. But the real blow comes when Archer's identity is revealed. He is Shiro from another timeline. In that future, Shiro's ideals led him down a dark path, ending in a pact that forces him to kill even past versions of himself for the sake of the greater good. This revelation shakes Shiro to his core. He's forced to look at what he might become and question everything that he stands for. For viewers, it's a powerful moment that digs into the themes of fate, sacrifice, and how good intentions can spiral into something tragic. Berserk.
誕生だ。5人目の服を新たなる魔王。闇の翼フェムト。
グリフィス。
Arguably the most infamous betrayal in anime history, Berserk's eclipse leaves a permanent scar on both its characters and audience. At the center of this horrifying moment is Griffith, whose once inspiring ambition slowly twists into something darker. Celebrated for his charm and vision, Griffith begins to crumble after devastating setbacks and personal humiliation. When faced with the choice to gain godlike power from the God Hand, he makes the unthinkable choice, sacrificing his closest friends, the Band of the Hawk. The betrayal is devastating, especially for Guts, Griffith's most loyal companion. Their bonds, built through countless battles and moments of trust, is shattered in an instant. Watching Griffith give it all up for power is deeply unsettling, as every familiar face is turned into fuel for his rise. It's a moment of pure emotional and physical destruction, changing everything for those who survive. The eclipse doesn't just mark a turning point, it drags Berserk into a far darker territory. The trauma that it unleashes shapes the narrative moving forward, and leaves behind a lasting impression. It's a brutal brutal reminder of what can happen when ambition loses all sense of humanity. The shock factor of betrayal in anime. Betrayal in anime is often shocking, and that shock is what makes these moments unforgettable. But what gives betrayal moments like these their intense emotional punch? For starters, anime storytelling excels at misdirection. With deep character development and rich backstories, viewers feel like they truly understand a character until betrayal shatters that illusion. The sudden shift from trust into treachery lands like a punch to the chest, dismantling emotional investments in an instant. Anime's visual and emotional intensity amplifies this impact. Exaggerated expressions, haunting soundtracks, and striking visuals make betrayal something you feel, not just witness. The contrast between peace and chaos, hope and heartbreak creates emotional whiplash that lingers. What makes these moments even more powerful is the attachment that we develop to the characters. By the time betrayal strikes, we've celebrated their victories and mourned their losses. It feels personal, and anime doesn't just show the act, it dives into the psychology behind it. Internal monologues, flashbacks, and moral dilemmas force us to see both sides, making betrayals feel raw, real, and tragically human. Ultimately, anime betrayals redefine stories, shifting relationships and entire narratives. They test not just the characters, but the audience, leaving an unforgettable mark long after the screen fades to black. And that's that. I'm sure that we missed some epic betrayals, so let me know which betrayals hit you the hardest. Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.